So come and grab a seat on the floor. And then if you can sit cross-legged, go into a cross-legged position. If that's awkward for you, try soles of the feet together, or maybe one leg coming into a cross leg and then swapping over when we swap the cross of the legs. So once you are there, I want you to let the feet go, or the ankles go into a more pointed position. And you'll often feel how when you do that, you're tending to sit a little bit more towards the top of the foot. So we're going to play with 2 positions for the feet. And then bring the hands to the floor if that's available to you. And if it isn't, to the front of the inner thighs is just fine. Avoid pushing on your knees would be my only advice. So then you're just going to walk the hands forward to see where you can get to right now. And then see if you can just let the head drop for a moment and just take a couple of breaths in and out. So it's perfectly fine if you're here with your hands on your inner thighs and just rounding as much of your back as you're able to. And then start to either walk the hands over towards the right, or if you're upright, think of rotating the rib cage, the shoulders towards the right hand side. And then just hanging out there for a couple of moments. And what you may find is as you spin to the right, how that left bum cheek wants to come up and off the floor. So see if you can just use your hands to help push you back and down towards sitting into that side. And then walk the hands around towards the left. And again, perfectly fine for you to have your hands on your inner thighs and take a twist and a bow. And then working on trying to sit back into that right side. And then come on up and now change not only the cross of the leg, so whichever one is in front, switch that over. But now you might have to change the configuration a bit, because now I want you to really put the bend in your ankle joint rather than having that more pointed ankle joint, for want of a better term. So sometimes you'll find that to flex the feet, you have to slightly change how you're sitting. And then go again, walk the hands forward, see where you can get to, or take the hands onto the inner thighs and flex the spine forward. Hang out here for a couple of breaths, and then walk around to the left side or the right side, really doesn't matter. And then use your hands to sit back down into the side of the pelvis that you're moving away from. And then walk it around to the other side. And again, use your hands to sit back into the side that wants to follow along for the ride. And then come on back to center. Come to an upright position and now bring the soles of the feet together. And let the knees drop out wherever you're able to. So then same thing here, you can either bring the hands to the floor and fold forward that way, take the hands onto the inner thighs and round forward this way. And if you're doing the hands on the inner thighs, I wouldn't think of just trying to push them down so much as, can you just grab into some of that soft tissue and pull it outward. So outward would be going from the inner thigh around towards the top of the thigh. And then let that release completely. Close the knees up and then come and lie down onto the floor. And once you are there, set the feet standing with the knees to the ceiling, and then put the knees and feet about a hip width apart. And from here, just allow both knees to go to the right and to the left. So just a gentle sway from one side and then towards the other side. Okay, so one more each way. And then when you come back to center, stand the feet on the floor, knees towards the ceiling. And now walk the feet wider than your pelvis and let your right knee come down toward the floor, heading towards the left. So it's coming inward and down, and bring it back to standing. So do that a couple of times, take it in and down and back to standing. So that those of you that are in the class today that are working from home or working from wherever, this is a great way just to give your hips some different opportunities than just sitting in a chair provides for them. And then change to the other side, take the knee in, bring it back. Okay, 2 more times. Last one. All right, and then from here now, let the right knee open out to the right. Keep your left knee standing to the ceiling and bring your right knee home. And do that 4 more times. Let the knee open and close. Last one. And then same thing on that left side. And then last one here. And then walk the feet back in, bring the knees into the chest and bring your hands onto your knees. And then lastly, just circle them, joining up the dots of everything you've just done. And see if you can keep your hands on your kneecaps, because it's kind of a double whammy that you also get to stretch your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists at the same time. Oh, thank you for making a quiet arrival. Last one, and then reverse them. And then come on back to center, and now bring the soles of the feet together, drop the knees out toward the side, wherever is comfortable for you. And then draw the heels a little closer to you. If you can feel that that starts to ping the knees further and further away from the floor, then can you send the feet a little further away from you and see if you can find a place where you could drop the knees a little more in the direction of the floor. Interlace your fingers, bring your hands to the back of your head with the thumbs just running down the back of your neck. Close your elbows inward toward the ceiling. And then just make sure, for me, those of you, I think everyone actually has done the class so far this week. So think of that neck ramping position. So you want to kind of use your thumbs down the back of the neck to notice if there's some wrinkles in there. And if there is, that's a good indication to drop the chin downward toward the hollow of your throat to let the neck lengthen. Exhale as you curl the upper body up and forward. Now watch the knees and make sure they neither rise nor fall, and then release back down. So you guys all know to use your eyes on the ceiling, looking forward and down as the head comes up and forward, and then releasing back and down. See if you can add in the subtlety of trying to give the weight of your head to your hands. See if you can figure out a way to let your neck relax and really get your arms to do the work of picking the head up, because you'll feel how actually the abdominal wall, strangely enough, works harder when the arms have to do some of the work for you. Okay. From here, as you curl up, I want you to maintain and hold that. Fix your gaze on the wall in front. Bring one leg up, but keep the shape that you've just fixed. And then see if you're able to bring the other leg up to join it and close the feet together. Now, you absolutely can rest your head down for this exercise or keep it up. You're going to allow the legs to lower and lift, and there's only going to probably be so far they can go before either you're arching your back off the floor or your feet are coming undone. So I want you to try and press baby toe to baby toe and big toe to big toe. Great. Last two. So try not to think forward and back. Think down toward the floor and back up toward the ceiling. That's better. Good. One will hurt more than the other. And then bring the knees into your chest. Rest your head down. Give them a little hug into you. And while you're doing that, cross your ankles over and let your knees open out. Okay, now keep your head on the floor for a moment. Maybe bring your hands onto the front of your rib cage and take this cross-legged arrangement from your chest forward. So now we're not going to the floor, we're just going away from you, and then bring it back towards you. So I want you to keep the ankles one on top of the other and test the waters of how far forward can the legs go and come back before you can feel that your lower back wants to go into that extreme arch. Okay, the next time you bring your knees to your chest, stay there. Now interlace the fingers, bring the hands to the back of your head, bring your thumbs down the back of your neck. And then as you exhale, bring the upper body up and forward. And again, if it doesn't serve you well, keep your head on the floor. It's not a problem. And then start to move the legs forward again. See where can you go to and bring them home. Taking them forward and bringing them home. Last 3. And bring it in. 2. And bring it in. 1. And come home. And now as you rest your head down, notice which leg you chose to cross on top and change the legs over. Keep the knees in on your chest, bring your arms up to the ceiling, interlace the fingers, notice which first finger is closer to you, and then move all the fingers up one. So you have your hands in your non-favorite way and your legs in your non-favorite way. And then bring the hands to the back of the head again. So one last set, curling the upper body up and forward, bring the shins up and then move the legs away from you and bring them back towards you. And it's so individual to each of us, as well as each leg, how far forward they go. So there is no pressure. All you need to pay attention to is that your back ribs do not get yanked up and off the floor by the weight of the legs going forward. If you couldn't hold a conversation with me right now, your legs are definitely going too far forward. Last one. And then head comes down and hug the knees all the way in towards you. All right, uncross them, hold on to the back of the legs and rock yourself up to sitting. So in seated, have the knees bent, toes towards the ceiling. See if you can get right up onto your sit bones. Okay, once we're here, arms reach forward. Now the heels do a little push down and a little push forward to roll back. And all I want in these short classes is for you just to roll back to where you know you can easily come up from. Okay, when we're doing an hour's class and we can play around with it, it's kind of a different thing, but these half-hour classes are just like get in and get out. So go to where you know you can come up from and then come home from there. Then switch the configuration of the legs. So bring the soles of the feet together and then see how that changes things for you. So if you start to get clunking in a hip joint, watch the knees for me and see if one knee is sitting higher than the other. If you can see that, there's a high chance you have more weight on one bum cheek than you do on the other. So on the higher knee, can you think of sitting off into that side a little bit, giving that side of your back a little bit more focus and attention? The next time you come up to the top, cross the ankles, go into that cross sit, and then do the same thing again. Whose idea was this on a Wednesday lunchtime? And come on up. Okay, 2 more. And up, and last one. And up, and then change the cross of the ankles and 3 more times, straight back, straight up. And again, pay attention to any clunking and clicking. Can you sit over into the non-clonking side, however weird that may feel? All right, and then let all of that release. Swing the legs back behind you and flip over onto your stomach. Bring your head onto the back of your hands. So I'm just going to keep my head slightly up so I don't cause any problems with the audio, but you want to rest your forehead on your hands for me. And then this is your choice. So maybe on the first couple, bring up just the top arm and your head. Use the bottom arm to push the floor away and then come on down. As you do that, remember you want weight on the pubic bone. You want the bottom ribs attached to the floor, but lightly. It should feel like there's more weight on the pubic bone than there is on the bottom of the rib cage. Change the hand that's on top and then do a couple more on that configuration and see how that feels for you. Flying feet are always something to pay attention to. You definitely want to press the tops of the feet into the floor as you come up. And then lastly, of course, we can bring both arms up and release down. And then this may really be a moment to pay attention to the top of the feet, trying to press down into the floor. Now, the next time your head comes down, bring the arms back alongside you and turn your palms in so they're touching the sides of your legs. When you're ready, inhale as you slide the hands down towards your ankles, head, neck, chest come up and release down. Now for the arrow, it's not really a back bend. So I want you to keep your eyes to the floor. And I want you to think of that rhomboid push-up we've done in class where you're trying to get the neck and the spine between the shoulder blades to work as one piece. So notice if it kind of feels like your head is a bit late up off the floor. All right, now sweep the arms back in under your head and let your upper body take a break. Anchor down into the pubic bone, the rib cage really light against the floor, and lengthen one leg to pick it up. No bending through the knee, keep extending the leg and bring it down. So same on the other side and bring it down. So as you alternate from one side to the other, what I shouldn't see is your pelvis coming up off the floor with the leg or any sense of you rocking from one side to the other. See if you can really get this sense of trying to pick up the front of the thigh, but anchor the pubic bone down. Okay, and then the option from here is to bring both legs up and lower them down. But of course it's optional. You could continue to alternate the legs from one side to the other. As soon as you switch into two legs, check out that desire to bend the knee and see if you can really keep stretching the back of the knee joint open. Last one here. Okay, now leave one hand under your forehead. Take the other arm down the side of your body, so the hand is just touching the side of the thigh. Whichever is your long straight arm, that is the side you will be side bending towards. So as you inhale, come up, pushing your elbow down. Now slide the straight arm down the side of the leg and bring your head around to that side of your body and bring it back. As you do this, I want you to think of the tip of the nose drawing a line on the floor. So there's no twist or turn in your neck or in your head. So you want to keep the nose down, keep the eyes down, exactly that. Because it's going to get very tempting to try and use the neck in place of your waist. Great. Okay, now let that release. Change the hands over. So the straight arm, palm touching the side of your thigh. Bring your head up and then side bend around to the straight arm and come back. And the side you're leaving, just make sure you're not dragging that foot with you. The foot should stay reaching away so that you're really lengthening out this whole side from the crown of your head all the way back to your foot. Last one. Good, perfect. And let it release. Okay, turn on to one side. And when you tip onto your side, take both legs out to long and straight, spare hand onto the floor, and then stack the feet up, one on top of the other. Can you flex your feet for me as if you're standing onto them, and then drop the ribs back, down and in? Okay, perfect. So now both legs lengthen, lift, and come down. As they lift and lower, so this week we don't have anything under your waist, but remember the weeks that we've put the half dome under there or the rolled towel under there to try and remind you to keep the legs reaching away. So now if you can balance, bring the spare arm up as the legs lift and lower. The hand that you're lying on, flip the palm up to the ceiling, and now take the ceiling arm overhead as if you're holding something between the palms of both hands. Keep a little beady eye on the rib cage because it will definitely want to ping itself forward. Okay, last one here. And then let it release. Swing both legs slightly forward. If you're on a mat, come to the bottom front corner of the mat. Take your spare hand, place it on the floor and roll forward, lean into it a little bit so you're really pressing down into there, and then lock down the supporting shoulder. Bring your top leg up, flex the foot and swing the leg front, point the foot back, swing front, point back, swing front, point back. So just nice, easy, lazy swing from front to back. Last one. And then close the legs down. Then from here, bend the top knee, stand the sole of the foot on the inside of the thigh. Slide that leg up. Hold here or wherever you've got to. So you might be the other side of the knee, it's fine. Wherever you are, you're going to try and roll the top hip a little more forward. And then you're going to try and open the knee a little further back. Now see if you can lift this whole bent leg arrangement toward your shoulder. Then extend the leg and bring it straight down. So bend, pause at whatever is your maximum, wherever that is for you. Take the hip bone forward, the knee back. Then you try to lift that whole bent leg into you, extend up and stretch and bring it straight down. One more time. Bend, pause, open the knee. Now lift the knee, extend the leg and bring it straight down. Find the reverse, kick the leg up. Now bend the knee as if you could bring it to touch your shoulder. Then take the foot to the inner thigh. This is the place to make sure the knee opens back, the hip goes forward, and slide your foot away. Bring it up, bend the knee, pull it to the shoulder, foot comes to the inner thigh, slide it away. One more time, up, bend the knee, keep pulling it into you. So there's a lot of pinch in the hip joint. Foot goes down onto the inner thigh, open up the knee and slide it away from you. All right, change sides. So everything out to one long straight line. Feet sitting on top of each other, really flexed, and then pushing out through your heels. So both legs lift and lower. And as they do that, you always want to be aware that you're not lifting the legs and rolling the hips back. I'm exaggerating, but you want to try and make sure that where you're sitting on the side of the pelvis, you stay there. Instead of giving me masses of height, can you keep thinking of reach so that underneath you stays really engaged? The next level is to take that spare arm up to the ceiling. And here you have to be careful that you don't throw the arm back behind you, otherwise it's going to pull you backward. And then the hand you're resting on, flip the palm to face the ceiling, bring the other arm overhead and then lift and lower the legs from here. Never so much fun on the shorter side. Last one. And then let it release. So now swing the legs forward, bottom front corner of your mat, spare hand on the floor, a little bit of lean into it. Bring the top leg up and then just swing the leg forward and back. Just really easy and loose, because you have your hand there and you want to use it. You want to be able to push it down into the floor to steady yourself. So we get a little bit of movement in your back as well as in your hip joint. Last one. All right, and then we're going to go into the side bicycle. So bending the knee, side of the sole of the foot on the inside of the calf, slide your leg up, pause here. So the hip tries to come forward, the knee tries to go back, pull the knee in towards your shoulder, extend the leg and bring it all the way down. Bend up wherever that is. It may be just past the ankle. There's no right or wrong. The hip comes forward, the knee goes back. Then there's the work of lifting these heavy bones to your shoulder to stretch the leg up and bring it straight down. One more this way. And then we're going to reverse that. So the leg kicks up, bend the knee, slide the leg down and out. So make sure you really pull the knee to the shoulder. That brief pause to open the knee and fix the hip before you slide it away. And one more time. Great. And once the legs are all the way out to straight, flip over onto your back. And then wherever you're working, can you just check for me if you have room to take your arms overhead? It's not necessary that they need to touch on the floor at all, but if you can bring them so that your elbows would be in line with the side of your temples without hitting any furniture, that would be handy, if, although not essential. Okay, so then from here, I want you to bring your knees to touch and walk your feet out. So you're in this kind of very knock-kneed position. Place the heels close enough to you that you think you're going to be able to come up into shoulder bridge in this position. So on your exhale, sink your lower back into the floor, peel the spine up and away. Now, the important thing here is that your knees do not come apart. So there's a gentle squeeze inward, and then you try to lift and open the hip joints up. Take the arms to the ceiling, reach them towards and overhead. Again, doesn't have to be the floor, because more important to me is that your rib cage doesn't start going higher than your pelvis. And then exhale and roll down. So I want you to bring the arms forward to the ceiling, shoulder blades to the floor. Go one more time, roll the pelvis back. Squeeze the inner thighs in together. As the arms reach back, the pelvis keeps trying to press upward and then starting to roll back and down. When you reach the bottom, just let the arms come and reach by your side, rest by your side. Great, okay. Now, keep the feet where they are and open the knees up so they feel like they're standing more in line with your feet. So I'm hoping that has brought you to a wide knee position. Now, if by any chance it hasn't, can you open the feet wider than a regular shoulder bridge would be done in? And then go again, roll back. Peel the spine up. So remember, you want heavy shoulder blades on the floor. As the pelvis tries to lift more, the ribs don't rush ahead. Same when the arms come up and reach back, don't let your rib cage go higher than your pelvis, and then start to roll back down. Arms come back to the ceiling. And then last one here. So at the top, pressing down into the feet, opening up the hip joints. Send the knees reaching forward as the arms reach back, traction the spine out, and then exhale and roll your back down. And once you're all the way landed, let your arms come by your side. Walk your feet in towards each other. Turn onto your side to come on up to sitting. And then you guys are done.